is Rebecca Riggs. I'm here at the Homeschool Connection with our blog, The Brew, and I'm super excited. We're going to talk really quickly here and finish up about how to plan your school year and try to get that done today. But first, I have to share. Do you see this mug? This mammoth mug, which is super awesome. So, in case you don't know, I am like 6 months-ish pregnant. And last night I had my first baby shower. And I do have to share, I'm take a pause a moment. And it was a coffee theme. A coffee themed baby shower. Of course, you know, I'm on decaf. So, which, you know, is still decent. You know, it doesn't quite suck my will to live as much as it used to. But one of my friends gave me this, and look, it's almost the size of my head. And there's a coffee mug the size of your head. You know that's going to be a good thing. So thank you, Miss Joy, if you're watching. Awesome. So it's really, I believe, I should probably measure it, but it's probably like 6 cups. So this could be, well, let's see. I don't know. Here's this, and here's my regular cup. Yeah, quite a bit. Don't judge me that I have 2 cups of coffee sitting on my desk. Don't judge. Okay, but I actually have another coffee cup sitting right there. All right, so we're going to talk about how to plan out your school year. Okay, so I have this. I don't know if you can see this. This right here, which I don't think we've had before, is when new curriculum come in and we have this ginormo stack of books, and then, you know, when you first start it, you're like, oh my soul, I feel overwhelmed. What am I doing with all that? Or you can be like me and I look at that big stack of books and I'm like, yay, okay, because it makes me happy. But it is a lot of work. So what do? We do one of 2 things. We look at that big stack and we feel overwhelmed. And then after we feel overwhelmed, we panic a little bit. And then, you know, we may sit down and cry. What are we going to do with all that? So here's what I personally do. So I have all kinds of good stuff here. I have screw tape letters because this is part of my curriculum I'm using for Worldview. I have my Excellence in Writing, Windows to the World, an Introduction in Literary Analysis. Oh look, this is a student book that I'm going to have to break down because I'm going to have someone who's going to have to do that. Oh look, the Elegant Essay, Writing Lessons. Oh look, Language A. Oh, because I have a 4th grader and I also need to do 4th grade math. 4th grade English, but I didn't order the teacher's book. I only ordered the student book, so, or the teacher's edition, but I didn't get the lesson plans because I'm not doing the whole program. I'm just using the grammar book. And then, oh wait, I did order the homeschool lesson plans for Math 1, Math 4. So I have the homeschool lesson plans for this. And then, of course, I have my ginormo stack of Apologia. Apologia always has like 2 million books. Which, by the way, I just ordered books for anatomy and physiology. Apologia is expensive when you're ordering books from them. So if you're using Apologia, just know, really expensive. So here we go. Advanced Biology for Anatomy and Physiology. And this comes with a book and a coloring book, which, by the way, the coloring book edition is not the same edition that's in there. They give me the pages. So if you buy it from Christian book distributors, just know that Apologia's website and the book tells you to use the 6th edition, but Christian book distributors only sells the 4th edition. So the page numbers in your coloring book are totally different than the page numbers in the book. Story of my life. So then I have to go through and adjust all that, or bring, you know, mass confusion to everyone when I put down the wrong pages. Okay, and then Apologia also has a student notebook, and so somebody else used this before and they have all these tabs. Also, the person before, just annoying things that, sorry, I just dropped the book. I caught it though. Things that annoy me. I don't mind when people highlight in their books, but this was a used book. And this person felt the need to highlight like Everything is important. So the page numbers, and it's in yellow, and I don't know if you can see that. It's in yellow and orange, and like this whole page is pretty much highlighted. So you can get highlight happy and notes on it, which is fine. It's just there's so much highlighting, so I don't know which is really. So you know what's probably going to happen is I'm going to go through in blue, and then it's going to be really a hot mess of highlights on the page. And then I have, daily lesson plans for Fearfully and Wonderfully Made. So we all know this. So I understand when you get all this stuff, if you were a teacher in a classroom, and I've done inclusive classrooms for 4th, 5th, and 6th, you have Bible, English, which is reading book, spelling book, grammar book, math, which you'll have speech, history book. I don't know. Oh, it switched on its own. It switched backwards and forwards on its own. I didn't even touch it. It's like magic. I think I need to like work on the camera. I think we have our own. There's a ghost that does that. So you usually would have like 8 subjects of books you're breaking down. And then if you have more than one child, you're going to multiply that. And then you're going to have a ton of books and things to do. So I understand completely. It's a ton. So here's what I do. My great words of wisdom, which aren't really that great or that much wisdom, one at a time. Slow and steady wins the race. Decide how you're going to break it down. Okay? I want to do a full 9 weeks at a time. I want to do 3 weeks at a time. I don't even know how to. That's my really awesome blue office chair, though. That's where I sit most of the time. How do you want to break it down? Do you want to say every 3 weeks I have to sit down and plan? Every 9 weeks I need to sit down and plan? How do you want to do it? Now, I am a 9-weeker. Like, I like to sit down and do 9 weeks so I know where I'm going, then I don't have to do anything for a while. I'm actually a semesterer. I like to plan to the semester, so I sit down and do, but that is a lot of time. So if you don't have a day a subject, because it takes like a day to sit down and do 18 weeks, then, 3 weeks. You might say every 3 weeks I'm going to replan. So kind of figure out what your plan is for that. How often do you want to sit and plan? Do you want to commit now to doing a big chunk of planning ahead of time? Or do you want to say, okay, every 3 weeks I'm going to reevaluate? I know that I'm not a super organized person. I feel like my house is always a hot mess. So for me personally, I plan out for a semester because I know if I don't, it will sneak up on me and then I'll be in panic mode again every 3 weeks. But do what works for you. You know, there's no wrong way to eat a Reese's. There's no wrong way to fix your coffee. However it works for you. So I'm going to take this Abeka language, okay? So I have the teacher's edition. So I bought the child book and the teacher's edition. I did not spend the money to buy the full lesson plans for this language, which is their grammar book, because I am piecing together my curriculum for 4th through 6th grade. We're using 4th grade language book and we're using their spelling book, but I'm doing something different for reading. I'm doing reading books and I'm doing something different for writing. I am using not even an IEW writing, a completely different writing program. So how am I going to break this up? All right, well, Abeka is one of those that doesn't, unless you buy their lesson plan, it doesn't tell you when to do what. Okay, so you're kind of on your own. And, you know, when you're buying, curriculum gets really expensive. When you start buying stuff and piecing it together, you're making, you know, an investment. It's can get really expensive. So anytime you want to try to save, or I don't know, I guess it is because we're ordering books. This is the newest edition, but sometimes you're using an edition that might be an older one because you have the workbook. And a lot of people do that. So here's how I would break up this language aid, which I actually had to do. On the Language Aid book, so this is how their teacher book is set up. They have 2 pages on 1 page. On their corner of the pages, okay, if you can see, on the corner of their pages, it says, I know it's backwards, sorry, Lesson 1. Also, my nails look kind of rough. Lesson 2, Lesson 1 and 2. All right, so for Lesson 1, they're supposed to do this page and this page. That's all they do for Lesson 1. Well, when I'm teaching here, I teach on a 2-day a week. We do grammar 2 days a week. So I have decided that on Tuesdays, I'm teaching Lessons 1 and 2. So I would put down on my planner that on Tuesday, my first Tuesday, I'm going to do pages 2, 3, looks like 4. Page 4 has Lesson 2, 4, and 5 has Lesson 2. So pages 1 through 5 need to be completed. Now, you can get as detailed as you want with this or as not detailed. This is about sentences and fragments. Next to I can put sentence and fragments, or I can just put the page numbers. I personally just put the page numbers, all right? It's quicker, it's easier for me, page numbers. The next lesson, I know I want to do lessons 3, 4, and 5 on Thursday. So I'm going to look on the corner. This is lesson 3. That's page 5. I already put that down. So we're going to do page 6, 7, 8. 6, 7, and 8 on the next day. We're going to do those 3 pages. All right. So I would go through all the way through my 9 weeks and have it laid out and set down specifically what pages I needed to complete it. If I know that I am only teaching 4 days, then I would break it down to 4 days. If I want it to be on 3 days, I break down on 3 days. Now, there are going to be gaps in this book where it's going to skip lessons because they give tests or quizzes, or they also have supplemental writing exercises that go with this particular grammar book. So you could do it that way, or way number 2, part 2, you can also do it this way. I've done it both ways. Way 1 is go through the lessons and try to match up lessons to days. Way 2 is for you to say, oh look, how many pages are there with this? There are, now this is all handbook, 100 and, let's see, there are 264 pages in this book. 264 pages. And I'm going to take 264 and I'm going to divide that up into weeks. There are 36 weeks or 30 weeks, or how many weeks you're going to school. So, you know, 264 divided by 30. I could do this in my head, or I could use my handy dandy calculator. Let's see, I happen to have one here. Of course, it's way over here. So I take 264 and divide it by the number of weeks, and that would be the other way to do it. To kind of figure out how many pages I need to do a week, and then I would go backwards from there and divide it by how many pages I want to do a day. So there's 264 pages, and I'm going to school for approximately 36 weeks because I know our school is based on Labor Day to Memorial Day, and there's exactly 36 school weeks and Labor Day to Memorial Day. That includes a week for Thanksgiving, 2 weeks for Christmas, a week for spring break, and a week for testing because we take a week off if someone wants to take a SAT-10 and do it. So, what did I say? 264 divided by 36 weeks. And let's say I'm going to put in an extra week because we might take an extra trip in there. So I'm going to say, oh, we're going to do it on a 35 week. So 264 divided by 35 equals 7.5 pages a week. Okay, so I know I need to do 7.5 pages a week in that book to finish that book. All right, so if I'm doing 7.5 pages a week and I know I want to work grammar twice a week, 7.5 divided by 2 is 3.77. So about 4 pages twice a week, or 8 pages a week. Okay, well, if I break it down that way, I need to do 2 pages a day, Monday through Thursday, to finish this book. If we break it down that way, it seems so much less overwhelming. So you know every day, page 2, 4, 6, 8. Next week we're doing 10, 12, 14, 16. Next week 18, 20, 22, 24. It also makes it for your child. Okay, I know that on this book I'm on a 4-page rotation. I get 4 pages done a week, or 1 page a day. Okay, works for me. All right, let's take this book, The Screwtape Letters, which so phenomenal. Such a great book. Okay, so The Screwtape Letters is broken into chapters. So I usually break books up by chapter. And in this chapter in this book, it doesn't really, this is one of those weird books that doesn't have chapters because it's letters back and forth. If you haven't read this book, I would recommend you do it. It is kind of life-changing. It's a demon writing back and forth to his prodigy on how to trip up Christians. It's just a good read in general. So this one is, I'm trying to flip through here because apparently it doesn't have a table of contents in this one. And side note, this book, The Screwtape Letters, I think this is really cool, was dedicated to R.R. Tolkien, who wrote Lord of the Rings. And R.R. Tolkien made one of his books to C.S. Lewis, dedicated a couple of his books to C.S. Lewis, so that's pretty cool. So this is a weird book that doesn't have chapters necessarily, so you could break it up by chapters, or I'm going to break it up by pages. So there are 209 pages in this book, all right? And I want to read this book in however long you want to read it. I want to read this book. I usually think to read this book 4 weeks. Maybe you want to go really slow with it and really digest it, and you want to take 6 weeks to read it, or you think 5 weeks to read it. Okay, well, we're going to do, because I like to digest and tear this book apart because it's a really good read, I'm going to take it and divide it into 6 weeks. So there's 209 pages and we have 6 weeks. So a handy dandy iPad calculator. 209 divided by 6 equals 34.8, which is 35 pages a week. I feel like I can handle 35 pages a week. Now, that seems like a lot of pages. And remember, we're breaking that over 36. So 35, and I'm going to divide that by, I went to school 4 days a week. 8.75. So they have to read 9 pages a day to finish this book in 6 weeks. Now look, this is not a thick book. And if you think, oh, 9 pages a day, that seems really big. But we don't realize how much we read. So there you go. That is kind of how I take and break it up. I figure out how many pages I need to do a day. If I feel like 9 pages is too many, okay, how many pages a day do I think is good? 5. I think 5 pages a day, that's 20 pages a week. So if I want to read 20 pages a week, and there are 200, how many pages is in here? 209 divided by 20 is, I multiply 209 divided by 20 is 10.45, so it's going to take me 10.5 weeks to read it. Okay, then that makes that a little more sense. So you adjust things for your student, all right? If you want to finish it, you plan to finish it. If you don't need to. Usually, really quickly, and I'll go, these Excellence in Writing books, usually in the front will say if you want to do it for a co-op, if you want to do it this many weeks, if you want to do it that many weeks, here's how to do it. And sometimes you're like, I don't know what to do, too many weeks. So this has lots of different units. This has 10 units, so you can do a unit a week. You can break your units and say, I want to go really slow with this because writing is really hard for my child and I'm going to take 20 weeks to do this. So this is not a full year curriculum. This would be a 10-week curriculum. It's the Elegant Essay Writing Lessons. So I'm going to take 20 weeks. If I think 20 weeks or 18 weeks, because that would be half a semester to do this book. All right, and then I would break it down accordingly and see which ones I wanted to spend a little time. I always find with Excellence in Writing, which I'm not a huge fan, but I'm not a writer and I don't like to write, and so it makes me cringe a little bit thinking about it. So, you know, that's just me because I don't care for it. I'd rather teach math. That the first couple lessons in here go really fast and then some of them are really detailed. Windows to the World, Literary Analysis. This book has lots. This is a pretty hefty analysis. There's 15 units with 21 exercises. So, and the front of this one doesn't really talk about how to break this up. It just goes right into it because I only have the student book here, but it is something I want to use. So I would say, okay, I think I want to do there's 15 units. If I take and go really slow with this, I can do 30 weeks, which is almost a whole year, 36 weeks. So just think, how fast, how slow, how much do I want to do for each of these? And that's my phone. I know it's the front desk calling and telling me that my 10 o'clock appointment is here, so I need to hurry up. So that's kind of how my thought process when I'm breaking stuff down. I just take one subject at a time, one book at a time, and think, how fast or slow do I need to do this? And sometimes when you do it, you end up going really fast, and it's too fast. And you can't get it all in, and it's faster than you think, and you do have to slow down and do it again. So again, that's where you have to be flexible. You're not married to the lesson plan. You're not married to it. You can be a little flexible. You can cheat on it. You can cheat on the thing and not always do every single lesson, every single thing in the curriculum. It eats my lunch to do that because I want to do everything. So I hope that was a help. I hope that was a little bit of help. That's what I think, because I know there have been times when I've taught and the principal gave me a huge stack of books and I wanted to cry because I felt like I could never get through that stack of books. It's about that time of year. Actually, here in Florida, in Polk County, school started today. Bless their hearts. It's really early to start. August 10th to start school. But our public school started class today. Some of the private schools started too, so that's going to be a lot for them. But anyway, that's kind of my insight on that. That's how I do it when I break down classes. If you have any questions, let me know. Hopefully it was helpful. And if you like it, please like, share. We're almost there. We're trying to get to 5,000 followers. Like, share. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And our blog is www.thehomeschoolconnection.net. Stop by and look at it and see Under the Brew. And hopefully I will see you next week on Tuesday at 9:30. And I look forward to seeing you all there. Hope you all have a great week.